Welcome to another episode of Every Day is Friday. I'm your host, Coach Jay Fry, and it is here where we bring you the feelings, the vibes, the energy that Friday brings, regardless of the day. Today is one of those days, one of those Fridays. And we're talking about probably one of the most exciting things and most important things for you. Whether you're an athlete, whether you're a business leader, a CEO, whatever you're doing in life, this could be one of the most important days of your life. You see, the quote that my man Mike Vernaci has given us is one of those that just, you overlook it. You don't think about it as much. And it's even something for me recently that we're going to dive into a little bit later that hit me a lot harder. It's something I preach, but sometimes you get stuck in the weeds. Sometimes you get stuck in the mud and you forget how important this quote is. The quote is, "Sit with winners. The conversation is different." Now, the objective here today isn't just to give you those Friday vibes, but it's to get you to think a little bit differently and examine what's going on inside of your life. If you're like me and maybe you just don't like the way something is going and you want to change it, this episode, this question, this thought process is going to be what helps you move your needle. I'm going through it now. Sit with winners. The conversation is different. Our objective here is to remind you that proximity, environment, and elevating your leadership circle starts with this question. Am I sitting with winners? So what I want you to think about here is we all want to change our direction typically. We've got this GPS where we know where we want to go, we know where we want to be, and we've got this beacon. But there's not always a how, right? My man Nick Lavery talks about if you can find the what, you can find the how. That's the easiest equation that you can solve because now it comes turning constants and variables into action. So what I want you to think about here is I want to change my direction. But I want to do another D. So we've got two Ds, direction and dialogue. Dialogue isn't just what we're saying here. Dialogue is what we're hearing. Because what we hear, what we experience, the people that are in our circle, those people determine the dialogue that comes into here. That's what's happening. So you listen to poor music, you listen to garbage music, stuff that talks about objectifies women, the stuff that talks about drinking, stuff that talks about smoking, stuff that's, you're a grown-up, right? But we're putting this in our head and then we're expecting to be a high performer. Garbage in, garbage out. That's what's going to happen here. You see, the people you're sitting with set your standard. Let me repeat that. The people that you are sitting with set your standard. So if we're trying to create a direction of where we want to go, what's it going to come to? We've got to change our dialogue. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about surrounding yourself with high caliber thinkers who can upgrade your leadership. But it has to start now. You see, years ago, I was in coaching and it wasn't until I surrounded myself with the right person, so to speak. It wasn't until I read a book, I read The Go-Giver. That changed my thought process. That changed how I wanted to serve other people, the value that I wanted to create, much like this podcast here. I want to create that type of value. But it wasn't until I got into a circle, into a room of other people who thought differently. It was unbelievable. It wasn't just like, oh, they came in sharp dress. I'm wearing a coaching outfit. and they come in suits, right? It wasn't that. But it was the energy. It was the questions. Like, you just listen to somebody who's really wise, who's really smart, who is successful. They're going to ask different questions. They don't ask, oh, can this idea make money? They don't ask that. They ask, does it provide value to somebody else? Can it change a life? And then they discern, okay, well, if it can change one life, can it change two? Can it change four? Can it change 400? So these people are thinking about different lines of questions. It was a level up moment for me. There wasn't gossip in the room. Like, different level people, highly successful people don't talk poorly about highly successful people. You're not going to see them go, dude, that guy doesn't know what he's doing. You're not going to see that. You're not going to see gossip. You're not going to see victim talk from any of those people, because they know what? They know that it's their actions, it's their disciplines, it's their dialogue. They create a different dialogue here, and they don't allow anyone else around them to have that same dialogue. You're not going to see them go, hey man, I really like you gossiping. I'm not going to do it, but go ahead and you do it. They're not going to allow that person into their life. They're not going to allow them into the inner circle, and that's what you should be doing. We need to not allow that garbage in, because garbage will go out. You ever notice you start listening to certain music and you start saying those words? Man, you could be all focused on, hey, look, man, I don't cuss. But you start listening to some music, you're going to start finding yourself cussing. You start listening to David Goggins, you're going to start dropping some F-bombs. So think about the dialogue that is being created as a result of the people that you're doing, that you're surrounding yourself with. So it made me question. This idea, this room that I was in, made me actually question, what kind of conversations am I having and allowing in my life? And what kind am I avoiding? What kind of questions, what kind of conversations am I having in my life? And what am I avoiding? Am I avoiding the hard, the important conversations? Am I having the victim talk mentality? Am I having those conversations in my head? So I want to pull this together. I want to give you 3 truths. Now, they may change, because truth typically does change over time. But I want to give you 3 truths that I believe can help you move your needle as we move forward. You see, winners talk differently because they think different. They speak in possibilities and not problems. If you ever talk to a brilliant person, a brilliant leader, CEO, successful beyond means, you're going to hear them speak positive. And I don't mean like, hey, we're going to be real optimistic. You're going to see them think about, or hearing from somebody who talks about the problem, and they're going to talk about, let's solve it. That's what the difference is. A lot of people complain. You're going to hear complainers, but the successful people turn that complaint into action. So what is that going to do for me? Action. I want to talk different because I think different. And as a result, I can see possibilities instead of problems. Great leaders, successful people do see problems, but they're looking at the possibility that results from the problem. Second piece, the culture. I saw this yesterday in youth sports, and my kid might have been a part of it, and might have been, it means he was. But attitudes are contagious. Culture in a company is contagious. It is a direct result of the people that we allow. Like, culture is what you allow inside of your team. You look at an organization. You look at an organization, and you are what you allow inside of it. So if culture is something that you allow them to have that victim talk, you allow them to sit in the dang lounge and sit and gossip about other people, then culture becomes less effective. Culture becomes less important to the entire team. You see, culture is contagious, and what surrounds you shapes you. We're using some play on words, we're using some double meanings, we're using some alliteration. What shapes you is what surrounds you. So think about that. As we're progressing here, think about who are you surrounding with and how that's shaping you to be where you're at. You see, Adventure Unknown is where you see this beautiful office at. This culture here, these people that you surround yourself with here, like shape you into thinking differently, acting differently, responding to one another differently. When you surround people who want to see you win, you want to create that same for others. So what surrounds you shapes you. And number 3, proximity is strategy. Where you sit determines what you hear. And what you hear affects what you believe and build. There's my double B. What you believe and build is a direct result of the people that you surround yourself with. Be strategic. Jason, I don't know how to do that. Find the people that you look up to. Find the people that you admire and reach out. If they're in your town, reach out to them. Hey, I want to be a fly on the wall. I'd love to meet with you. The next BNI that you're doing, the next group meeting that you're doing, the next fellowship thing that you're doing, the next F3 I saw them running this morning, the next whatever it is, I would like to join you. You are somebody that I admire, and I would love a type of mentorship. Now, maybe they can give you that, and maybe they can't. They might not be able to give you mentorship, but they will likely help you be brought into a room that you shouldn't be in. Think about that often. There's no way I should be in this room. When I'm with Nick Lavery, that's what I think. I shouldn't be in this room. But as I progress as a leader, as I constantly develop and get better, you're dang right I should be in this room. And I got to believe it. So I have to believe and build it as a result of being strategic on who I am allowing here, and in my circle. Proximity, the people that are in your life, be strategic with them. So we've got winners, they talk different because they think different. We've got culture being contagious. And we've got proximity, the people you surround yourself with, the people you're close to, is strategic. It is a strategy. You're going to have to create your own strategy as you build this out. If you're wanting to elevate leadership, you've got to audit the circle, your circle. If the conversation with people drains you, if it pulls energy out of you instead of give you energy, that company probably will too. So whether it's your actual work company or the company you're keeping, that's going to drain you. Now what, Jay? Coach, what do I do? Here's some actionable things that you can do. I want you to do a proximity audit. I want you to get a list. I want you to get a piece of paper, and I want you to write down who's in your circle. I want you to write down 5 people you spend the most time with. I don't rate them. Rate them whether they push you forward, pull you back, or hold you steady. Push you back. Push you forward, Push you. How do they push you? Do they pull you backwards? Do they pull you away from your goals, your desires, your dreams, those big A goals? Do they hold you steady? Second piece, what I want you to do is I want you to be intentional about sitting in better rooms. I want you to join one conversation, group, or event this month. These people are operating on a totally different level. Once again, think about it being in a room that you shouldn't be in. Get in one room this month. These are the people you aspire to be like. Whether it's finance, whether it's accolades, whatever it is, be in a room with them. And number 3, here's your action. Be a winner for somebody else. What I mean for that is I want you to ask better questions. Examine the questions that you're asking. Ask better questions. Speak belief. Speak belief into somebody else. There's somebody struggling. There's somebody in your circle that needs belief. And can you speak it into them? I believe in you. Why do I believe in you? Man, you have the most amazing characteristics. You see, this characteristic that you have that I don't think anybody else has, you have, and this is X, Y, Z. What do you think that's going to do to that person? Man, that's going to put them in a different circle. That might energize them. Share your strategy in terms of improving your room. Somebody can introduce you to somebody else. Be a winner for somebody else. Raise that bar in your own circle. And if those people don't want to be in your circle, we're out of here. So one thing that I want you to do inside of your dope journal, our data of personal experiences, this journal, I want you to write one question, and it is, what conversations am I having that need to change? If you're with your team, what I want you to think about it and ask is, how can we create a culture here of high-level conversations? How can we pull everyone forward? I want to pull you with me. Let's go. Think about that. You see, when we sit with winners, the conversation is different. Dude, winners don't change just outcomes. They change your outlook. So if we want to get to that direction, if we've got that GPS point, we've got to change the dialogue. We've got to change the outlook that we have so that we can do amazing things. And you can.